You know, I built my cabin up on Willow Lake to get away from the noise, the rules, the constant hum of city life that never lets you breathe, just me, the pines, and the quiet ripple of water against the shore. That generator out back, the one I pieced together with sweat and a few choice curse words, it's more than a machine. It's my freedom, my lifeline, keeping the lights on and the fridge humming when the world out here goes dark. But then came Linda, oh, Linda with her clipboard and her smug smile, thinking she could waltz in and claim what's mine, not knowing she was about to get a jolt of reality she'd never forget. It all started last summer, when I'd sit on my porch at dawn, coffee in hand, watching the mist curl off the lake while loons called out in that haunting way they do. My cabin's nothing fancy rough-hewn logs, a creaky porch, a shed out back where my generator growls like an old friend. I rebuilt that thing from scrap, wired it to power my little slice of paradise, and when storms rolled in, knocking out the grid, it kept me warm, fed, alive. Out here, you don't mess with a man's generator, it's like stealing his oxygen. The folks around Willow Lake got that. There's old Hank, who'd toss me a beer from his dock, or the Millers, always dropping off blueberry muffins they couldn't eat fast enough. We kept to ourselves, traded nods, lived and let live. Then Linda showed up. She rolled into the lake community like she owned it, her blonde bob so stiff it could have been a helmet, those giant sunglasses perched on her head even when the sun was long gone. She carried this clipboard, always that damn clipboard, like it was a badge of royalty. First time she showed up at my porch, I was sanding a chair, sawdust on my boots, squinting up at her shadow. "Morning," she said, sharp, like she was announcing a court ruling. "I'm Linda, president of the Willow Lake Homeowners Association. We've got standards to maintain, and your setup's lacking." I blinked, half laughing. "Lady, there's no HOA here. This is a lake, not a gated community." Her lips twitched, but her eyes were cold. "There is now," she said. "I've drafted bylaws. You'll get a copy. That generator? It's loud, unsightly, and frankly, it's dragging down property values." I just stared, wondering if she'd heard herself. Property values? Out here? Where the nearest store's a 20-minute drive. I brushed her off at first, figured she was just some city transplant playing Queen of the Woods. Let her have her little fantasy, right? My neighbors thought the same. Hank called her Clipboard Linda behind her back, and the Millers just rolled their eyes when she lectured them about their dock's paint color. But Linda didn't stop. She'd march around, leaving notes on doors, citing fake rules about grass height or boat placement. "It's for the community," she'd say, like we'd all begged her to save us. My generator, though, that's what got her obsessed. "It's too loud," she'd gripe, standing at my fence. "It's a hazard," she'd mutter, scribbling on her clipboard. I'd shrug, say, "It's my land, Linda. Runs my lights, my fridge. You don't like it, buy earplugs." That line, "my land," it set her off, like waving a red flag at a bull. Her eyes would narrow, and I could practically see the gears turning in her head, plotting her next move. Things escalated one evening when I caught her poking around my shed at dusk, her flashlight bobbing like she was on some covert mission. "What the hell are you doing?" I called out, stepping onto the gravel. She jumped, clutching her clipboard like a shield. "Just checking for safety violations," she stammered. "At night." I shot back. "You could have knocked." She didn't answer, just scurried off into the dark, but I knew then she wasn't just nosy, she was up to something. A few days later, I found it, a black cable snaking through the grass from my generator to her cabin across the lot. My machine, my fuel, my work was lighting up her damn house. I saw red, pacing my porch, picturing her sipping wine under my power, telling herself she deserved it. I stormed over to her place the next morning, banging on her door. She opened it, all fake smiles, like she'd been expecting a delivery, not a fight. "Linda," I said, voice tight, "why's there a cord running from my generator to your house?" Her smile faltered, just for a second, then she leaned in, smug. "Oh, that? I assumed it was a shared resource. We're a community, after all. It's only fair. I laughed, sharp and bitter. Fair? You snuck onto my land, hooked into my generator, and you're calling that fair? That's theft, plain and simple. She didn't blink. Don't be dramatic, she said, waving her hand. The HOA charter says shared assets benefit everyone. I stepped closer, voice low. There is no HOA, Linda. No charter. Just you, stealing what's mine. Her jaw tightened, but she didn't back down. Call the cops if you want, she sneered. They'll side with me. I'm keeping this place civilized. I walked away before I said something I'd regret, but I was done playing nice. What Linda didn't know, what she couldn't know, was that my generator wasn't just some off-the-shelf model. Years back, when some kids tried siphoning fuel, I rigged it with a little surprise, a non-lethal shock system, just enough to zap a thief and make him think twice. It wasn't deadly, but it'd light you up like a bad 4th of July sparkler. And Linda, with her greedy hands and her fake rules, was about to walk right into it. Her campaign got uglier after that. She started papering the neighborhood with flyers, bold letters screaming "violation notice" with my name slapped on them, claiming I owed $500 for unauthorized generator use. She taped one to my door, smeared orange paint across my cabin vandalism dressed up as condemnation. Neighbors started whispering, some laughing, some nervous, but Linda fed on it, strutting around with her lackey, Margie, a mousy woman who nodded at every word Linda spat. One day, I caught her ranting to a crowd by the lake. "He's a danger," she yelled, pointing at my cabin. "That generator's a fire hazard. He's putting us all at risk." I stepped out, calm as I could manage. "Linda, if it's such a hazard, why are you stealing power from it?" The crowd snickered, but she just doubled down, shouting about community standards like a preacher on a soapbox. I knew yelling wouldn't stop her. She thrived on chaos. So I waited, patient, like a hunter in the woods. One night, I turned off my cabin lights, drew the curtains, made it look like I'd left for town. I sat in the dark, beer in hand, watching the shed. Sure enough, around 10 p.m., Linda crept out, Margie trailing behind, both dragging a new cable. "He's gone," Linda hissed, her flashlight cutting through the dark. "We'll hook it up quick. He'll never know." Margie fidgeted, whispering, "Linda, what if he comes back?" Linda snapped, "Stop whining. This is for the community." I leaned back, grinning in the shadows, knowing what was coming. Linda crouched by the generator, fumbling with the wires, her clipboard propped in the grass like a loyal dog. She clamped the cable down, smug as ever, whispering, "See? Easy. Free power." Then crack. A sharp pop split the night, and Linda flew back, arms flailing, a scream ripping out of her so loud it echoed across the lake. She hit the ground, moaning, hair sticking out like she'd been struck by lightning. Margie dropped her flashlight, shrieking, as porch lights flicked on and neighbors spilled out, drawn by the noise. "What was that?" Hank shouted, hobbling over with his cane. "Someone hurt." I stepped out, slow, deliberate, letting the crowd see me. "Evening, Linda," I said, voice carrying. "Evening, Margie. Funny time for a stroll, isn't it?" Linda staggered up, her bob a frizzy mess, sunglasses dangling off one ear. You tried to kill me," she screeched, pointing a shaky finger. The neighbors murmured, but nobody bought it. They'd seen her sneaking, seen the cable in her hand. I crossed my arms calm. "Kill you? Nah, Linda. You broke onto my land, tried to steal my power. My generator just doesn't like thieves." Hank barked a laugh, and the crowd rippled with chuckles. Linda tried to spin it, shouting about her HOA rights, but it was over. Her clipboard lay in the dirt, pages fluttering, her authority crumbling under the weight of her own lies. She stormed off, dragging Margie, promising revenge, but the neighbors just laughed harder. The next morning, the story was everywhere: Linda's scream, her wild hair, her fall from grace. By noon, the sheriff's deputies showed up, lights flashing. Linda ran out, waving her arms. "Arrest him," she yelled. "He booby-trapped his generator." I handed the deputies her flyers, her fake fines, showed them the cable still running to her cabin. The taller deputy raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, there's no HOA here. But there is a law against stealing electricity." They slapped her with a citation: theft, trespassing, vandalism, and drove off, leaving her speechless. The lake went quiet after that. No more flyers, no more paint, no more Linda strutting around like she owned us. Neighbors started waving again, sharing beers, laughing about Zappy Linda over campfires. My cabin's back to what it was: just me, the lake, and the hum of my generator, steady as ever. Looking back, I didn't beat Linda by shouting or fighting. I just let her greed do the work, let her walk into the trap she'd set for herself. There's a lesson there. I think entitlement's a slippery slope, and if you push too hard, life has a way of pushing back. So what would you have done? Confronted her right off the bat, or let her learn the hard way like I did? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious to hear how you'd handle a Linda in your world. And if you like this little tale of lake life and sweet justice, hit that subscribe button. There's always another story waiting out here in the pines.